Hey everyone, in this video we'll go through how to load Airfoil data files into MATLAB. This will be useful for my future source panel and vortex panel method videos. I'll post links in the description for where you can find all this code. From a previous video, I showed you how you can use a Python script to download all the Airfoil data files from the online UIUC Airfoil database, and here you can see the directory where I saved all of those .dat files. Now we're in MATLAB, and my function I wrote to load the files in. I won't go through every line in detail since I've commented every important line of code. The reason the code is as long as it is because there are a few different file types with different methods of formatting the data. To simply read the data in is not very difficult, but to get it oriented in a way that I need for the panel codes is a little bit more in depth. So let's go through some of the important sections really quick. So this is the function name, load_airfoil, and it takes in the argument file name, which is just the name of the file minus the .dat at the end of it, and it outputs an array data x and an array data y that contains the x data and the y data for the airfoil coordinates. So the first section here, from here all the way down to here, is just to find the number of header lines in the airfoil file. This is because the different files have different number of header lines, and so if you look at two of them, these are two Epler airfoils. This one has one header line, while this one has three header lines. Okay, so once I know how many header lines there are, I need to see whether there is one column of data or two. We know that there should be two columns because the first will be the x data and the second will be the y data, but for some of the files, the numbers in both columns are squished together without a space or delimiter. So once we figure that out, that's what we're doing here. Once we figure that out, we can load in the data files and store them into two arrays called data x and data y. Then we need to orient the data correctly. My panel code needs the data to start at the trailing edge, loop around the front of the airfoil, and then end at the trailing edge again. Now I don't care if we start on the top or bottom because I orient it correctly in the panel code itself. So this next section here finds the indices of the maximum x values that correspond to the trailing edge, and then the next section of code down here moves the data around based on those values to get the correct orientation of the data arrays. Now you'll note that there are a few exceptions like this one here and then this one down here, which happen because these few data files have data that are a little different than all the other files. And then if you go down here, the last couple things I do are first get rid of duplicate points, and then the next thing I do is close the airfoil polygon just to make sure that the airfoil is closed. So to test if this function works for all the data files, I wrote a little script that loops through all the files in the directory and tries to load them. If it's successful, it puts them into the good foil cell array, and if it is not successful, it puts it into the bad foil cell array so that I can see which ones worked and which ones didn't. And this is actually how I wrote the function itself, but starting with a simple code, and then I added exceptions and if statements and all that to make sure it worked for all the data files. So now let's just run this code and see what we get. I'll press F5 to run it. You can see that it iterates through. It outputs the iteration number, the file name, and the number of header lines. And it has to go through all 1579, and it's almost done. And then when it finishes, then you'll see over here we have the good foil and the bad foil. The bad foil has one entry in there, so if we open that up, we can see that it's the NACA 23015. And so if we take a look at this file in here, the reason that doesn't load is because I don't have exceptions for when there's dashes instead of a number, and when there's a parentheses instead of just the number, and so you can add exceptions in for this one, but I don't really care about it. So my load airfoil function seems pretty complicated, but there's another way that you can do this that you might prefer. My code essentially just reads in any file and converts the output to the Selleck format, which is shown here. If we open up the data x that the function returns, you can see it starts at the trailing edge, goes to the leading edge, and then goes back to the trailing edge again. And so what we can do instead is just load all the data files in that Selleck format, and then our loading function can be simplified. So how do we do that? So if we go back to the UIUC Airfoil data site here, what we did before was we took the files from the update directory and the A to Z directory, but you can actually go to the archive section and then see coordinates in the Selleck format, individual files, and we'll click on directory listing, and in here all of the files are in here pretty much, except for the ones that are in the update directory. And so all of these files are now in that Selleck format where there is one header line, and it goes from one to the front of the airfoil and then back around to the back of the airfoil. So this is the Python file that I used to read in the files previously, and now I just copy and paste it over here and just change the base file path to the this here. This is the base file path because this doesn't change. You can see here it's chord Selleck format, and then when you click this, it just adds on, and that's the same for all of these. So that is the base file path, and then it's pretty much the exact same code. And so if you run this, it'll save all of the Selleck format files into a directory on your computer. So now I'm going to use those Selleck files instead, and so I just made this new load airfoil underscore Selleck.m, and it's the same. It outputs the x and the y, takes in the same file name, but now you can see it's a much shorter code. It essentially has this part here where it loads it in because it's always the same format, and then I still delete the duplicates and I close the airfoil by extending the final point. So now I go back over into my testing script, and so I'm going to comment out that file path, and I'm going to put in the file path that I stored all the Selleck format files in, and then down here I'll comment this out and use my new function, and again let's run through it. You can see that it's running through. It actually goes a lot faster because it doesn't have all those other if statements in there comparing things. And now you can see that if we open up badfoil, there's two that are not good, and so what we can do then is we can go to the here, and the problem is that there are two files that have different number of header lines. So all of them have header lines of 1, but these two files happen to have either 3 header lines for this one or 2 header lines for this one. And so if we just put in that exception and we save it and we run this one more time, it goes through pretty quick, and now you can see that there's no more badfoils. And now the last thing I'll do is just show you what the airfoils look like. So in this loop where I'm trying to open the files, I'm just going to plot the airfoils, and if I run this, now you can see that these are all the airfoils that are being loaded in for each of the files in the entire directory. Now you might have noticed that there was like one wonky one in there, but I think that was like a fairing or a cow door or something, so that's why it looked kind of weird as it was scrolling through. But this is the way that you can load in airfoils from the UIUC Airfoil database. I hope this helps, and thanks for watching.